You ain't real, boy, act your level. I'm real, boy, act your pedal. You better dash from my class of rebels, cause you know we came to blast when we smashed the metal. Brooklyn, that's how we doing it. Brooklyn, that's how we doing it. Brooklyn, that's how we doing it. Brooklyn, that's how we doing it.
Brooklyn, that's how we doing it.
Yes.
Yo, what's up? I'm the host, Gene the Dream Brown. This is another On Everything podcast where she is Ella Brown. And we got a special guest today. We have an artist. His name is Ish
Quay.
Ish Quay. There we go. There we go. What's poppin', y'all? How y'all doing? How was y'all week this week? What's going on?
My week was good, as you already know, busy. So we ain't even gonna go into that. So it's good on a Friday. It's raining, it's gloomy. That's why I'm glad we on the On Everything podcast so we can lighten it up in here.
Absolutely.
It's Quay. What's going on with you?
What's going on? Glad to be here.
We're so glad to have you, Ish. I mean, I'm just thankful that you blessed our show, and I know we have so many people watching. Not only our faithfuls who watch our show, but also people who are here for you. I mean, it's been blowing up. We've been getting so much positive feedback about you coming on the show. I mean, people couldn't wait. So we're so glad to have you and so glad you're here. The first thing I want to say is let's get started with Ish Quay. So when everybody sees your name, we want them to make sure they pronounce it correctly, Ish Quay. And just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first and foremost, I'm glad y'all putting the emphasis on Ish Quay because for the entire time that I have been a rapper, people want to call me Ish Q, Ish K. They want to call me everything under the sun except for Ish Quay. So a couple of my projects have actually been directing my audience to my name. I've even spelled my name a little differently on the covers so that they can get it together. But yes, it is Ish Quay. So I am an artist from Charleston, West Virginia. I'm currently based in Greensboro, North Carolina. That's actually where me and Ella, connect. We are from the same hometown. She's seen me grow up my entire life. So, yeah, man, just an artist from West Virginia is hard already because not too many people know about West Virginia. They want to confuse West Virginia and Virginia. We're two completely different states with two completely different temperaments. The people are nothing alike. But yeah, I'm an artist, as I said, from West Virginia, currently stationed in North Carolina, and just trying to bring real rap back, man. It's weird in the rap game right now, so I'm just trying to do everything I can to try to cement myself and get my legacy solidified.
Okay, so when you say you want to bring...
Hold on, Gene. I just got to comment real quick. Shout out to Charleston, West Virginia. Shout out to Dunbar, West Virginia. So West Virginia is going to be on the map. So we just got to give that special shout out because we got Gene the Dream talking about Brooklyn all day. So let's let them know about the talent coming out of West Virginia.
For sure.
Okay? Even though we are located and grew up elsewhere, you know what I'm saying? I'm a DMV baby as well. But shout out to West Virginia, hometown. All right, Gene, we ready?
Okay.
Ready.
So Ish Quay, when you say that you're looking to bring real rap back, what do you think about the current climate of rap music? Like, as far as like current artists, like,
I guess the current climate is cool. It's always good when change happens in the industry, but you also with change, you also get a lot of repetitiveness. Like a lot of the artists are starting to sound the same, and the cadence is the same. People are rapping the same. Back when I was coming up, as far as when hip hop was really thriving, like in the early 90s, going into the 2000s. When I grew up on that type of music, and everybody had their own style. You couldn't turn on a radio and hear DMX and be like, "Oh, that sounds like Jay-Z," or anything like that. Like all artists from top to bottom sounded completely different, and that's what really made hip hop stand on its own. Nowadays, it seems like people are finding what's hot and what's really popular and riding that wave instead of just being themselves. So that's what I mean when I say bringing real rap back, as far as the talent in your bars and your creativity and the way you put stuff together. Like like I said, a lot of people that are on the radio these days, you hear a song and then 2 songs later it'll sound like the same person. Like there's no individuality right now. There is, but it's far and few in between.
That's true. That's absolutely true. So if you had to do, and I hate doing it, but if you had to do a top five, like who'd be your top five artists right now besides yourself?
Like right now,
Hmm.
or just like we talking overall, top 5
Over,
active
I say
artists.
overall, Gene. What about overall?
I wanted to go with right now to see the current climate, but we could do overall. That's fine.
No, do yours. Do
Matter
the
of fact,
top
what
five
I'll do is
now.
I'll do both. I'll do my top
Okay, let's
Please,
do
5
that.
both.
current, and I'll do my top 5 overall. So my top
Okay.
5 currently it's a rapper out in Cali. His name is LH. He's probably by far my favorite artist right now.
Hmm.
Just because of what he brings to the table. I like to listen to YBN Corday. He's got a lot of conscious stuff with him. And from here and there, I listen to Nick Grant. He's an artist that not too many people know about. He's from South Carolina. He's got a lot of talent lyrically. But I'll throw in here and there some of the people who have been around for a little while, but they're still active. People like Two Chains or Ti, stuff like that. So
Hmm.
that's probably how I round out my 5 with Two Chains and Ti. But as far as overall, my top 5 overall, that's where it gets a little difficult because my favorite rapper of all time is Lil Wayne, so he's got to come in on my list. But I think the greatest rapper of all time is actually Jay Z. So Jay Z's
Okay.
in that top, but it
But
took me a while to get to that level because I'm a big Pac fan. So I really have
I'm a huge
Pac
Pac
as the
fan.
greatest. But the last couple albums that Jay Z's put out has really shown like there's really nothing that this man can't do. So I have to go Wayne, Pac, Jay Z, Kendrick Lamar, and for my fifth spot, gotta be rest in peace to the dog, DMX. Man, he's inspired me a lot.
hmm. So
Yeah.
your top five list. I'm a little disappointed because one person was missing. I know
Who's
you
that?
know
I
who the
know you know
person
who he
was.
gonna say.
You know
New
who the
York,
person.
you know.
Biggie,
Yes.
and I respect that
Listen,
because
you
I
can't do a
honestly
top
believe,
five without
but
Notorious B.I.G.
see, and that's the difference because I'm going off of my favorite and not the best. If I was doing the best, like
Hmm.
the 5 top lyricists as far as the best, who I believe
Yeah.
the best, it's gotta be Jay Z, Tupac, Biggie, Nas, and that fifth spot. A lot of people don't give this man the credit that he deserves, but the fifth
Hmm.
spot for me is KRS-One. So those
Oh,
are the
I love
5
Karen.
people that I believe are the 5 best MCs ever. If your top
See,
5 don't look like that, then respect to you, but you got to do some listening if you don't got them 5 somewhere within there.
I mean, if it was a top 10, I would probably fit Nas in.
For
Honestly,
sure, for
like
sure, for sure.
I'm not
You can't have a
I'm not
top 10
a Nas
without
fan.
Nas.
I'm not a Nas fan. That's the only artist on your list that. But
I
anyway,
am.
like enough about other artists.
Woo.
Let's talk about your work. Let's talk about
Yeah,
your work. So
most definitely.
what kind of projects do you have coming up, and what have you done so far? Like as far as music goes.
I'm currently working on my first studio album. I've put out about 3 EPs already. I've also put out a mixtape over the
Mm,
years. With the quarantine happening, I was basically trapped like in my home was as everybody else was. So it forced me to focus more on my craft. So with doing that,
mm-hmm.
I was able just within the short span of the pandemic, I was able to work on 3 projects and I put them all out in the year of 2020. I put out
Wow.
2 EPs. It's Quay Volume 1, It's Quay Volume 2, and I also did a joint project with the artist that I mentioned earlier, LH out in California, called
Mhm.
96 Hours. We actually locked ourselves in a hotel room for 96 hours and completed an entire project in
Wow.
96 hours. Recording, mixing, mastering, writing, everything was done in
Wow.
96 hours. So it was definitely, that was more of like a challenge for the both of us. We wanted to see where we were as far as this hip hop craft
Mhm.
was concerned. If we were on a deadline, if we needed to do something, could we put out quality content in a short span of time? And it actually
Yes.
did really well.
Hmm.
Let me ask, I want to ask, what about, and you mentioned all the rappers, right? And how everybody sounds the same, which is absolutely true. And you know, then they have mumble rap and things like that. Describe your style. What kind of style do you bring to the industry? And then what kind of concepts do you talk about, right? Because we put certain rappers in certain lanes based on their content and what they talk about. So what is your style, and what is the type of rap music you want to make, and what is the type of rap music you want to see more of?
That's a great question. As far as my content is concerned, I find myself being a mix of a couple of different types of artists. As I said, Wayne is my favorite artist, so you'll get a
Mhm.
lot of wordplay in my music. Like I'll use a lot of similes and metaphors, but also on the other spectrum, like I said, I like pop, so I'm a conscious rapper at the end of the day. But
Mhm.
I don't like people to put me in a box because they'll try to, oh, he's a conscious rapper, so he can't make this type of music, or he's a
Mhm.
club type of rapper, he can't make conscious music. So I try to mix it up and do a little bit of everything. But as far as my core focus, it's more of conscious rap because we don't have enough of that. And to answer your question as far as what I want to see more of, it's definitely that. I want to see more people talk about real life stuff. Like it's stuff that we're going through in this world. And I don't feel like people are touching on it enough. Like one of my biggest songs that I have is called Deja Vu. And it's in reference
Mhm.
to police brutality and all of the things that we're going through in this world as black people. And there's not
Mhm.
enough of that at all. So anytime that I step up on my platform, I try to display us and put us on a pedestal as far as
Mhm.
representing us the right way. And a lot of the times you'll get a lot of people who look at rappers in a demeaning way. Like, oh, he's a rapper, so he's ignorant, or he's a rapper, so he's this. I'm a college graduate. I never thought I was going to be a rapper to begin with, and it just came out of
Mhm.
nowhere. I took it in stride. When God puts a gift in your lap, you have to accept it and do what you got to do
Right.
with it, and that's exactly what I did.
Mhm.
So as far as my type of rapping, I like to show people that rappers aren't just, we're not just puppets. We don't just make songs just for people to dance to. We say a lot of stuff that makes you think. We want you to think. We want you to open up your mind. I might use a word here and there that people probably have never heard of because I am educated. I want you to know, I want it to shine through my music that I'm not typical. I'm not like your average rapper. There's a lot of stuff that I say, there's a lot of stuff on my mind that I want to get out on the table. So that's what I try to do through my music.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's real because, and then just like me and Gene, we've had many shows talking about, the black community and consciousness and what we need and how can we get together, which that's the main thing we're trying to work on now, is how to get together as far as unity, right? And so
Right.
Hmm.
using thinking about unity and thinking about music to do that, right? Because music is supposed to transcend, right, all cultures. So when you think about unity, how can we use how do you think you can use, I'll say, um you being an artist, to bring unity? So making conscious rap true. Do you think that we could, and I mean stuff that eventually, who knows, it might start a movement. Do you think that we could do, do we need more collabs talking consciously? Do we need to get out? Like how can rappers use their platform to bring unity and to bring a call, especially call to action with the climate and culture we're in right now, to the black community?
Definitely, I think collabs would be huge. You get a lot of people who, like right now in the industry, probably one of the biggest artists is Lil Baby. A lot of people looked at Lil Baby just as a street guy who would rap about certain stuff, and then he'll flip it, and he had a song that was more conscious. And when he does stuff like that, that calls to an entire different generation who may not be open to the conscious rap because that's not what he does on the regular. So if he's able
Mhm.
to flip and do something like that, then that just shows that it's so much bigger than us when you do that. And I
Mhm.
think more artists need to do that. Like I would like to see him do a remix to that and maybe put somebody like Lil Durk on there because Lil Durk is from Chicago. With him being from Chicago, he's from the trenches. It's a lot of stuff that goes on in Chicago that probably doesn't go on in a lot of other places. And there's a lot of conscious stuff that people in Chicago need to hear. And I feel like if Lil Durk would get on that remix or something like that, or to collab and do anything
Mhm.
like that, like the main artists who really have the attention in the industry right now, if they were all to come together and collab and do a song about conscious and awareness and unity, that would do so much for us because us as rappers, we get too caught up in the sport sometimes. We want to be the
Mhm.
best. We want to make sure we rap better than such and such. We get on the song with such and such. I'm just trying to outdo them. That's not always the best option. Sometimes you need to get on a track with an artist that's established or an artist that actually has a platform in order for
Mhm.
you to come together and show everybody, listen, yeah, we're rappers at the end of the day. He's got his fan base, I got my fan base, but we're stronger together. You bring 2 fan bases together, 3 fan bases together, however many people, it's going to change the world eventually. Once we start coming together as black people, that's what'll start to show the rest of the world, okay, they're really serious now.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. What you think,
That's
Gene?
what like even like driving in today, like I happened to pop on and listen to the collaboration with Little Dirk and Little Baby. I mean, with Little Dirk and Little Baby. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I thought that they have an excellent contrast because their styles are different, where they're from is different. But at the same time, like it's like, it just flows. And they had a lot of features on there. And that's one thing that I think is important in rap music. When, something that I love to hear is like when different people collab, when different sets get it together. I like to see that. And for all of y'all listening, if y'all have any questions or y'all want to call in, the number is 929 441-2417. Give us a call if you have any questions for Ish Quay.
Yes, and then I'm gonna read. Thank you, Gene. I'm looking in the comments. So we got Roz. Hey Roz. So she said I'm here. Ranisha said hey. Kwani Shah said no. Oh, the no biggie. I believe, and then Ranisha said I believe a lot of the new artists are using their platform. So there are some people that believe that artists are using their platform, and there are a lot of new artists using the platform. Oh No Nation, that's the one. Remember Oh No Nation, Gene? He said he called, nobody answered. Oh No Nation, keep call back so we can get your call. 929-441-2417. We've been waiting to talk to Oh No Nation anyway. And there's Mandy. Hey, from Cali, from Team Roz. Hey, Mandy, thank you for Team Roz. That's right. And all of us, and remember the Evening Rush Network, you can find this on the Evening Rush Network as well as our other shows and podcasts. We're here talking with Ish Quay, a phenomenal, not only a phenomenal artist, can I say that? Ish Quay is a phenomenal human being inside and out. So let's just put that in the atmosphere. And when you are an artist or whatever, a business owner, it doesn't matter what field or what it is that you're doing, that character and your integrity and who you are speaks volumes. So when you add that to great artistry, you've got the total package. So I just want the world to know that, even though the world is going to already know, I just have to put that out there.
Somebody said Queens in the building.
All the queens are here. So Ish, a lot of these people coming, the queens, thank you, queens. So the queens are from the Evening Rush Network. They're on our network. They're one of the shows. So please check in and check out the queens. They are the bomb as well. We got a lot of support. We got a lot of support for you here. We got a lot of support for the show. Gene, what you think about, so when we're talking about not only rappers and trying to get together and conscious rappers and style, I like, you know what I like, Ish Quay, that you said that you don't want anybody and you're not even going to really allow anybody to put you in a box. And I think that resonates so much with everybody because people will often try to put you in a box, right? You may show one side of yourself or one side of your artistry and then they think that you're that way. But see, what we have to understand is you got to know there's more to people than that. There's more to their artistry. This is a gift. So the gift never stops. The gift is a gift that keeps on giving. It's going to continue and it's going to grow. And so when you're thinking about that gift and not being boxed in, that's what I want to know when it comes to the industry. So how do you feel, even though you're just now getting into the industry and finding your way, how has the industry been treating you? And what do you see in the industry? Is it everything that you thought it was, or are you seeing some positives, negative?
I think as far as the industry is concerned, I'm a sponge. When I was growing up, a lot of people would call me quiet because I didn't speak much. But a lot of that quietness came from me being observant of what was around me. I don't just step into things and not soak up the surroundings. Sometimes I'll just sit in a room with tons of people that I might not know, and I'll be completely silent, but I can judge everything that's going on in that room just from observing. And the industry is no different. I am a student of the game, so I've seen people who have come before me stumble over certain things in the industry. And what I'll do is I'll learn from that as far as, okay, I see what they did wrong. So when it's time for me to get to that stage to where they're at, I don't know how to handle it. I look at situations like NWA, TLC, different artists like that who have had issues with contracts and things of that nature. Nowadays, it's a different type of industry. The artists
Mm,
have more power than they used to have. You don't have to have a label backing you or anything like that for you to put out music. And I'm a prime example of it. I'm an independent artist who's put out multiple projects, and I've had fans from all over the world reach out to me. And just to see something like that happen with me doing it on my own, it's like the industry, I never want to make it seem like the industry isn't needed, because everybody's situation is different. But as far as
mm,
I'm concerned, I love everything the industry has to offer, but I feel like I can offer it to myself as well. So what I can do is I can learn from the industry, but I never want to be a product of the industry, if that makes sense. Like, there's a lot of people who get
absolutely.
on labels, and labels will try to change them or try to make them make this type of music. And I'm a firm believer in music comes organically. You can't force music. If you're a true penman and you write and you
Mm,
care about your penmanship, that doesn't just come overnight. Like, there are
mm,
certain lessons that you have to go through in life in order to get you to a certain place for you to write your best music. And that's what's
mm,
happened to me. There were certain times where I was like, man, I haven't put out music in a long time. I need to put out music. I need to put out music. And I'll just talk to God, and God will tell me it's not time yet. And then He'll send me
mm,
through something, and that whatever He sent me through, I'm like, oh, I get it now. I'll write an entire project about a life lesson that I've just faced, and a lot of that's the biggest thing about me and my music is I always want to display my transparency to my audience.
mm,
I never want anybody to listen to my music and be like, oh, he's just talking. That's not true. Most of the stuff, not even most of the stuff, everything that I say in my music is factual. And
mm.
that's what I bring to the table. As far as the industry is concerned, I feel like it'll try to change that sometimes. So with that being the case, I never want that to happen to me. So for as long as I can, I plan to stay independent. And if a label comes along and they have the same values that I have, I'm open to negotiating. But as for right now, I feel like it's best for me to stay independent because I have the control. Like, I don't. Why would I give somebody else a percentage of what I make when I
Mhm.
can do what y'all are doing for me? Basically, all y'all can do is really put me on a bigger platform. And I'm a firm believer in God's going to show you to who needs to see you. Nobody has a bigger platform than God. God's gonna put
Mhm.
me everywhere I need to be. He's gonna put me in buildings and
Period.
rooms that labels can never put me in. So I feel
Come on
like I'm
now, we
prepared
preaching.
for all of that. And
Mhm.
like I said, my label is God. Like, at the end of the day, He's
Mhm.
the one that's
That's
gonna lead
right.
me to everywhere that I need to be. So like I said, for as long as I can, I'm trying to stay independent.
So, so being that we brought God into the situation, what do you think about gospel rap music?
I like gospel rap music. I listen to it often. I have there's actually an artist here in North Carolina. He's in Winston Salem. His name is Mike Teasy. He's a gospel
Mhm.
rap artist. Early on, it was hard for me to really get into it because I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it. But then I started to come across artists that really started. I'm like, okay, they got something to say. Like, a lot of the times you'll hear Christian music, and some of it'll be repetitive because typically, obviously, it's for God. It's catered to God. And
Mhm.
sometimes a lot of people get caught up in saying the same thing that somebody else said. And I came across a lot of Christian rappers that they talk about their lives, but they also talk about God, and they bring God. The way they bring God into it is what really drew me into it. It's one thing to
Mhm.
just make gospel rap or just to make gospel music, period. It's another thing to make people feel what you're saying and to feel how you brought God into it. And that's really
Mhm.
where I started to connect more with gospel rap.
So I'll tell you something. Like back in the days when I used to do rap music, and I grew up in a Christian family and everything. I actually started off like trying to do gospel music. At the
Oh,
time, though, it was like a real awkward situation because the church wasn't really receiving it, and people in the world didn't receive it. So it was like trying to, like thread a needle basically to find a niche or a market for it. And I remember sometimes on Sunday mornings, like I was on the praise team, right? So I used to sing on the praise team, and they'll be like, "All right, go ahead, bust a rap." And I'm like, "Oh boy!" On Sunday morning, the old people used to skin their face up at me. I'm trying to think. Oh, it was who was that? Donnie McKirkland. He did a
Oh
song.
yeah.
speak to my heart, right? And then my cousin was on the drum, so at the end of the song, he would switch over to a rap beat, and like I'll just like freestyle to it. I'll be like, now with Christ, we could do all things. Without him, I'm just falling. But like. And like I'm saying, like the old people used to skin their face up at me at the same, and at the same time, like people in the street didn't really receive it. So, because like back then it was more battle rap, they wanted to hear bars. And that's, so I really like, for me, it's hard for me to listen to gospel rap music because I grew up listening to gospel music and I don't associate rap music with, like with God the way, artists do. And even trying to do it, I had a difficult time just like communicating that to the audience when I tried it, But yeah, man, gospel rap, it's different, bro. Like, but I love that artists are even now like you have more artists like including God in their message and like who Kanye West with Jesus Walks when that came out, that was a banger, like I really appreciate, the individuality and the inclusion of God in music.
In anything. And
Yes.
I think Gene and Ish, you might know, it reminds me of Snoop did a gospel album because I love that. I got that one. It's the song called Chisel. I think Daz was on there, whatever. Like
Wow.
that song is fire. I mean, he has more songs, but we have to say something because the chat is getting backed up. Okay, so we got the Queens. Mandy said phenomenal as well as educated. Like how you carry yourself, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, Teray is saying, can we hear one of his tracks? We're working on that right now, Mr. Witten. Kwani Shah, can we get a snippet of Deja Vu? That's what we're working on right now. Yeah, we working on it. And then, okay, we working on it. Okay, so Terry said so that is what we working on. So give us a minute to get back to the break. Let's see if we can hook it up. We are definitely working on it. And Ishquay, we working on that Deja Vu. And because that's a shorter clip, right? It's like about a minute and the full thing. That's what we're working on now. So when we come back from the break, that's what we're gonna play. We're gonna try to play it. We also got maybe some special things after the break too.
Absolutely.
But yeah. But one thing, okay, so we talked about our society, we talked about the industry, we talked about independent, and one person I know in things that I've read, Ishquay, is your affinity for who was and why am I blanking? Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle. When I think about him, I just feel like I remember seeing many segments that he talked about being independent, and he talked about business. Like it was like I was in a class. He was really teaching. He was much more than a rapper. And so I know the independent. What do you feel about the people who are trying to get on? They want to stay independent, right? Because they want to do everything you're saying. They feel the same way, the money, own the masses, all of that stuff. But that they get this deal, right? They get this deal. And maybe they feel like it's a situation where I might not get this chance again. Do you take that chance if you get a deal from a record company? Do you take that chance if it's out the water? And not only about the money, but about the promotion, the production, all of those things that they can offer you on a wider scale. Do you take that deal or do you wait and pass it and still work on the independent?
I feel like each person's situation is different. I never want to tell somebody to turn down money if they really need it. But at the end of the day, you really have to think about what's important to you. And I'm glad you brought up Nipsey Hussle because when we were doing the top 5, that when I said DMX as my 5th, I interchange him and Nipsey frequently because Nipsey is a huge inspiration to me. I actually named my son. My son's middle name is Nipsey's first name, which is Ermias. That's how much of an inspiration he was to me.
Wow.
But as far as artists and passing up deals, it's really more about you. Me as an artist, I know what's important to me. As far as what's important to me is my publishing, my royalties, my masters. I need to own 100% of all of that. If labels can't get with that, then pass. I'm cool on it. But you really have to think about what's important to you because a lot of young artists will see a deal for millions of dollars and they'll be like, I've never seen that amount of money in my life, so I gotta take it. But it's gonna come back and bite you on the back end if you're not smart about it. Because a lot of times people will accept multi-million-dollar contracts and won't understand that Yeah, you're making $1 million, but you're not making that entire amount of money that they give you. For one, you got taxes that are coming out of it. For two, you also a lot of the times are signing a 360 deal, which means the amount of money that the label is giving you, they're recouping that back from you. As far as your album is concerned, whatever you make on your album sales, on your tour, all of that stuff is coming right back to the label if you sign a 360 deal. So you're making $1 million. That's basically just in advance. It's like going to the bank and getting a loan. Yeah, you got the
Mhm.
money on you, but you got to pay it back eventually. So at the end of the
Mhm.
day, it's really about the terms of the contract. There are a lot of people that sign multi-million-dollar deals, but you have to, I guess, care enough about yourself. You have to be confident enough to know that you are more important than any amount of money. People can throw money at you, but if you don't own your royalties, if you don't own your masters, if you don't own your publishing, Prince was a prime example of making that known. If you don't
Yeah.
own that stuff, you're in
Yep.
trouble. The labels own you. Why would you
Mhm.
like if you don't own your masters own you at the end of the day. So when it comes to negotiating that $1 million contract, you got to look at the terms a little bit. I'm not telling anybody to turn down money. I'm just saying make sure you're smart about the decisions that you make because a lot of the
Yeah.
times you're not making all of that money. You're going to have to pay it back eventually. So
Always.
just be smart about it.
Always. And then I have
Mhm.
something to ask you. We getting ready to go to a break, but I have something to ask you when we come back. And it still is about that because I talked to the youth out here, right? It's a lot of youth that are in rapping, and I just want to talk to you about that and the money because they need to watch this. They need to understand. They don't believe what you're saying about the industry. They really think they're gonna get that money. So again, we're here with Ish Quay, a journey, the journey of a king. We're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back.
Looking to podcast shows and do not know where to start? The Evening Rush Network can help you with that. Call us at 929-441-2417 or email us at theeveningrushnetwork@gmail.com for dates and prices. We got you for all your podcast needs. The Evening Rush Network. Tune in, subscribe, and share.
And we're back.
And we're back. Dean, how we got on the same color today?
I don't know. It was gold.
Well, I
You
love
know
it.
they
I mean,
say when you wearing white you feeling godly. So I feel like
that's what I was. You took
we
it
all
out
in
my
it.
mouth. Is Quay and Ish got it. We are godly today. That's something y'all know. I don't believe in coincidences of anything, right? So that might be a little sign or something. But real quick, okay. So let's do our sponsor. We got to do our sponsor. It's sponsored by Sayings by Butter Clothing. She's the one that makes everything for our shows. Please check her out. Follow her. Buy her stuff. Again, sponsored by Sayings by Butter. What I wanted to say, what we left off about the youth, real quick, and then we can go into something else. But it's rampant, right? Because they're coming straight. They're not even. I remember being young and looking for a regular job, and we were looking for jobs, right? You work in the store, you work in fast food, whatever. When we teenagers, when you like 14, 15, 16-year-old, their whole thing is, I'm either going to be, football player, basketball player, or I'm going to be a rapper. And the rapper thing, and even when I try to tell them, right? The rapper thing, you're going to have to pay management all of those fees. You know what I'm saying? They really don't believe. And then they're like, well, I just work it out. I'm not going to pay everybody. I'll do my own video. I said, those videos, you're paying for that. Those cars, the rentals, the house, you're paying for that. They were like, well, I'll just work it out and just, what I'm saying? I'll get somebody else to do my videos. They don't have a concept. So I'm saying that to say, I know they have people who talk to kids about it, but I think there needs to be, or do you know of anything like this going on where we can educate the youth about this, like maybe through like some programs or music programs or something to educate the youth so they can really learn the industry, especially the youth who really have those gifts and those skills so they don't get taken and they don't get in the industry and become a slave.
For sure. It's definitely out there. You just have to go look. I was actually blessed enough to have an uncle, my Uncle B. He introduced me to something called the Royal Network. Now, what they did was they actually specialized in grooming upcoming artists on the industry. So they would basically break down a contract for you. They would break down the ins and outs of what you have to pay. Like you said, management, videos, different things that people don't take into account when they really receive all of that money. That money's gonna be gone before you know it if you go out here and blow it on all of this flashy stuff, because there's stuff pertaining to your career that you really have to pay for that you might not know. And there are a lot of resources like that. I wish there would be more, and I wish there would be more readily available to people, which it's not. You kind of got to go research for it. But at the end of the day, that goes back to how much you really want it. If you want it bad enough, sometimes you got to go do your own research. And I'm a product of that. Like I said, my uncle put me onto it, and I dove a little deeper to do my own research as to everything else. And that's what really led me to want to stay independent. There are maybe, I'll say maybe 3 or 4 record labels on this earth that I would probably be content with signing with. But outside of those 3 or 4, nobody else's vision was in line with mine. So
Who are
you
those
got
3 or
to,
4?
I would say off the top of my head, No Limit Records, just off the strength of what Master P does. Master P he's a prime example of being an independent artist and building your own. So for somebody who's done as much as he's done on his own and negotiating the deals that he's negotiated, I would be a sponge around him. I want to soak up all of that, because at the end of the day, that's where I want to be. No Limit Records, Rock Nation, just off the strength of Jay-Z, is another prime example of taking over the industry at his own pace. Yeah, he was signed for a little while, but he started to see the nuances of the industry and how to maneuver through it without the help of other people, such as him creating Tidal. He created a streaming platform that he could put his own music on, but he's getting paid millions of dollars for it. Like, that's huge. So definitely them two. And my third will probably be Dreamville with J. Cole, just because J. Cole's vision is in line with mine as well. He never wants to be owned by a record label. He wants to make sure that if he is signed to a record label, it's not an ownership, it's a partnership. So that would be more what I would be in line with doing. So if I had to say, those would probably be my top 3. There are maybe a couple of others that I would negotiate with, but as far as if they stepped to me, I would know what their values are. I wouldn't have to actually sit down and be like, hey, listen, we got to make sure we're on the same page about this, because certain stuff that y'all do might not be what I want to do. But at the end of the day, those are probably the top 3 that I would say.
I love it. And I love all those top 3. Hey, Gene, and I don't know if you could see it, but we got the video ready. So thank you to King Don for that. Like, he make it happen like that. So the video that we wanted to show, Ishquay, is that Deja Vu. It's just the I guess it's the cover. And so we're gonna play that. Is it okay to play that?
Perfect. That's perfect. Go ahead.
All right, so King Don, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, killing after killing, this is overdone, and they smiling while they do it, they doing it for fun, but I'm God's son, so I won't never run, cause a crooked cop ain't nothing but a coward with no gun. But look, I had a combo with my brothers today, about the way I should react if they should come my way. I'm thinking MLK, just so I can make it home, but the other side of me is screaming that it's all wrong. When I think about my son, they gotta be the outcome. When I'm thinking about my people, I'm thinking like Malcolm. I'm in for meals, cause baby, I got the formula. Classic after classic, man, I belong in the orchestra. All these other rappers is only concerned with pouring up, so finding better is about as likely as locking Jordan up. I keep getting hotter while my trail's still blazing. James want $1, but for me, they getting Nathan. Ain't a nigga living that can cause me a problem. Word to CJ, they don't belong in my column. I'm so super rare, but they can't find another. All these others, man, they come a dime a dozen. I can pull the baddest and act like it's nothing. Boy, I swear I'm looking like somebody's husband. Like somebody's husband. Like somebody's husband. You can't tell me nothing, I look like somebody's husband. Like somebody's husband. Like somebody's husband. Boy, she scoping cause I'm looking like somebody's husband.
Yo, that was dope.
Wasn't that dope?
Appreciate it.
And then I love that first part. I mean, we always love somebody's husband, but that first part, I love that ending. Where you said, when I'm thinking about my people, I'm thinking about Malcolm. Like, that was fire right there. I love that.
That really spoke to me, because that like I said, everything in my music is real life. So when the George Floyd situation happened, me and my homeboys, we're very open about discussing stuff like that. So we really like had a Facebook
Mhm.
message conversation, and we were like, how do we really approach that situation? Like, if a cop approaches you and you know that they're about to do something that could put your life in danger, how do you really handle that? Because at the end of the day, we're men just like they are, and we're got a family at home. So how are we supposed to handle that? So what I said was, I had a convo with my brothers today about the way I should react if they should come my way. I'm thinking MLK, Martin Luther King, just so I can make it home. But the other side of me is screaming that it's all wrong. When I think about my son, that has to be the outcome. When I'm thinking about my people, I'm thinking like Malcolm. So it's real life situations in my music. And like I said, that was a conversation that we had, and it's it's a
Mhm.
difficult topic and a difficult subject to actually touch on, but it's something that really needed to be talked about because that's what's going on in the world right now. So I wanted to make sure I touched on that with Deja Vu. And as for the second portion of that, that's what I mean about me being a balanced artist. You get your conscious
Yeah.
stuff, but you also get your stuff that you can bang in a club because that's somebody's husband is a lot of people's favorite song. So that is really what my wordplay on display.
Oh, that's Eugene. So you see, Oh No Nation. First of all, that concept and how you came up, how it came about, I love it, and it shows your diversity. And now those were only two short clips, so we
Mhm.
know that it's even more diverse. And so we're gonna plug all your contact information, all where people can find you, so they can go on and they can follow you, and they can really see how well, not only how well rounded you are, and how educated you are, and what a beautiful Black king you are, but what you are bringing to the table, right? What you are bringing to the table, because you're not coming to the table asking for handouts. You're not coming to the table for anything. No, you bringing something to the table, and you're gonna
For
make it
sure.
happen.
For
Hey,
sure.
Gene,
Yeah.
you see Oh No Nation talk about, is this dude going to sing? What you think we should have him do?
Yo, you know what? Yo, Ish. Yo,
What's up?
you know what we want you to do? We want you to drop some bars. Drop it live right here.
Bars.
You
Bars.
want me to freestyle? All right, so listen, I typically don't freestyle for people, but I feel like we family, so I feel
We
like
family.
I'm a cook up something for y'all. So here's what I'm
Okay.
gonna do. I'll spit a quick freestyle off the top of the head, but after I finish the freestyle, uh, a lot of people, because a lot of people don't believe that people freestyle. They think that it's written. It was pre-rehearsed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spit a quick little freestyle, and after I spit the freestyle, I'm gonna open up the floor to Gene. I'm gonna open up the floor to Ella, and you guys can give me words, and I'll freestyle off of those words. So
Oh,
guess just to
okay.
start it off,
I'm ready.
what we'll do
Okay.
is I want to incorporate what we're doing right now in this freestyle. So we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
go like this. Um, Okay, on everything podcast, they number one because they always got class. Yeah, shout out to Gene and Ella. They do it for the ladies and they do it for the fellas. Yeah, we on the evening rush when the show about to start. I'm gonna need for y'all to hush. So we'll do something quick like that.
Nice.
And Gene, we'll open up the floor real quick. You throw out a word and I rhyme off of it.
Uh, monotony.
Monotony. Ooh.
Let's
A
go.
lot
Gene.
of people look, that's no problem at all. I love it. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people got a problem with monogamy. For me, a lot of rappers try to copy me. So that's never been a problem for me. But what I like to do is do what I do, not do what I see.
Like it.
Ella,
Like
opening up the floor to you. Go ahead
it.
and throw a word out for me.
You know mine is gonna be Gene already. It's okay. So this is just gonna be for the Black community because I'm big on this. I'm big on wanting this. Reparations.
Ooh, reparations. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see how I'm gonna do that one. That's a tough one because a lot of stuff is coming to my mind, but I don't want to go too deep in it. It's gonna mess around and turn into a song if I freestyle too much. So what we do is, okay, Black folks, we need reparation. The white folks don't seem to get the reciprocation. A lot of times we go through problems. They go through stuff they don't really gotta solve them. So the stuff that we go through on a daily, They can never do. They could never do. They could never see. Let me see. I don't want to go too deep on that because if I go too deep on reparations,
That's
we'll
all
be
right.
here
That's all
for a
right. That's all
long
right. We
time.
love it. We love it. We love it. And you
Oh,
know
that's
why?
dope.
Because
That's dope.
it's
That
that
that's
is
fire.
dope. That's dope. And it's because me and Jean been talking about this so much. And a lot of our shows, even though we did show black comedy, we had a lot of different shows, but somehow this topic keeps coming up and everything that's going on today. I mean, beyond George Floyd and the Black Wall Street, all of that stuff, that reparations it should have always been the talk, right? But it seems to be getting louder now. So that's been on my mind
Yeah,
like forever.
I
And the reason
actually,
why it keeps coming up is because that is genuinely who we are. You know what I mean? Like, and we're here for the people, and we're gonna make sure that our people get treated right, and we're representing for that. Now, Ono Nation keeps commenting. Ono Nation, if you're watching, if you're listening, call in at 929-441-2417. Like he on the
Yeah.
sidelines, like,
Yeah,
oh,
he been on the sidelines too much. You know what I'm saying? He was on the sidelines last time. Like, you really want to call and you
he's
called
staying
and you
alive.
couldn't get through. We waiting. We waiting with
Exactly.
Ish Quay.
We
Like,
here for it.
you
but
got you got right on it, Gene. That's right.
it's funny
Mhm.
that you bring up reparations because what I didn't want to do when you brought up reparations is I've said a lot about reparations in my music and I didn't want to use any of the bars that I had used before. But when
Yeah.
this whole pandemic started, that was one of the things that I talked about because they were talking about giving us the stimulus check and all of that stuff. And I posted a video, and in my video I said, they said we get a check. Tell them people I'll be waiting. Probably ain't gonna see it anyway, just like my reparations. Like this has been a
Mhm.
problem for a long time in America,
Yep.
and it's it's crazy that years and years and years later, we're still having the same discussion with nothing being pushed forward. Now, we've heard people who have been in office or people who are trying to get in office speak to doing something in regards to reparations, but we haven't seen much action. So, with us being the black people that we are, let's just call it what it is. I speak about this a lot of my music. I like to be honest. Black people built where we're at. We built this.
That's right.
How are we on land that we built and we're not reaping the benefits of it. Like we're not reaping the benefits of what we built. We built this place and they're
Mhm.
treating us like we're just nobody. Like it's a lot of stuff that we did on our backs for free. Our ancestors did on their backs for free to make America what it is. And what are we seeing from that? Like that we're not seeing anything from it. Our ancestors had to do too much, had to go through too
Mhm.
much for us to still be in the same situation where we're not being respected or not given what we deserve. So it's
Yeah,
definitely I'm glad you brought it up because that's something that it's a conversation that needs to be had.
that's right. We still sitting here waiting for our 40 acres and a mule. And the
Facts.
thing is that it's crazy
Waiting
is
on that
that
forever.
there are some races or some different people who reap the benefits and already receive like all kinds of benefits from things that they've gone through that America didn't do to them. But we're here. America they committed the crimes against us, brought us here,
Yeah.
and enslaved us here, and we have yet to see anything back. And I'm not I before in the past I wasn't a pro reparations person because I believe that like I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna get it regardless. Like if you give me something or if you don't,
Yeah, but
I'm
they
gonna get it.
owe. They owe.
But I just wasn't a pro before in the past. But now, my position changed as, like I began to understand the different effects of the damages that were done to us. And I start to see the mindsets of people and how our people move throughout this country. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
basically like if it's just like I'm watching people who are still like or families that came up, and we were taught different things, and the things that we were taught was because of what happened in the past, because of slavery and because of like the oppression and the things that we experienced. And even now, like in the hood and stuff like that, like like I still see that, like yo, you still living that oppressed life. You know what I mean? Like we are taught to come up, and to put people on certain levels without them earning it.
Yeah.
And most of it is because of the color of their skin.
For
I
sure.
remember when I used to sell furniture, and like sometimes different colored people besides us would come in, and they wouldn't speak to you. You're like, hi, hello, how are you? Welcome to Raymond Flanagan. But I remember one coworker, like he would be so offended by it, and this was when Obama was president, and he would look at them and just yell to them, "Excuse me, you walked into my store and you didn't speak to me. Do you know the president of the United States is a black man?" And I'm like, oh. But like it's still, the racism is still here, it's still alive. Of course, the last president that just went out brought that to the forefront, and they're more vocal now. And I feel like we still got to get to a place where everything is equal, and whether we have to strive for it or whether it's through reparations.
I don't know that it'll ever be equal, Gene. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we do, but just like me and you talked about, I don't know if it will ever be equal. Ishquay, what do you think? Because my thing is, you've done so much. We already know the history is there. So now you just that's where I feel like it is, right? We're gonna get our own regardless. We got to get ourselves together. We're gonna have our own money, whatever. But you still owe that too. In addition, it's not in place of. It's in addition to what we're doing on our own. But so much has happened, and you know how people say, "Oh, well, we're on the right path. We're striving for equality. We're striving for all this." And I could be, maybe I'm a little bit pessimistic about that. Tell me what y'all think. Like, Ishquay, do you think that things are gonna be equal?
I think if they are, it's going to take a very long time. We're going to be dead and gone before it happens. But it's like what back to what Gene said as far as with his mindset prior to where he is now, him not being pro reparations. That's understandable. I feel like the older you get, the more you start to see the world for what it is. There were a lot of people think that slavery was just, oh, you're working for us. If you get out of line, we're whipping you. If you run away, our dog's going to chew your leg off and stuff like that. Yeah, there were harsh things from a physical standpoint. But us as black folks went through a lot of stuff mentally that's still with us, that's in us, that we don't know how to handle because of what happened to our ancestors. They passed a lot of that down to us, and from generation to generation to generation, we continue to go through that. Something as little as us black men, we always feel like we have to be superior. We have to be the protector. We have to make sure that we protect any and everything around us. And a lot of that stemmed from us being helpless in slavery. We had, as black men, had to watch our wives, our children be mistreated at the hands of a man that we knew that we could handle that man if, things were a little more balanced. But the fact that they had whips and guns and things of that nature, it put us in a mindset to feel like, how can I protect my family when at the end of the day, they'll kill me, and if they kill me, there's nobody here to protect them. And a lot of that same stuff, we're in that same construct today mentally because we haven't properly gone through the channels of figuring that out. And that's another reason for reparations being needed. A lot of us, who want to even go deeper, a lot of us black folks, we need mental help. We need to seek therapy. We need counseling. But a lot of us can't afford it. There are a lot of us that need it the most that can't afford it. If we were given reparations on 40 acres and a mule, which they promised us, you better believe we will find a way to pay for that therapy that we need. Like us black folks, we need it. I've just now gotten to an age where everybody around me would always, not like my family, but just like my peers around me would say little things like, oh, therapy, that's, if you go to therapy, you must be crazy. Therapy's only for crazy people. There must be something wrong with you if you go into therapy.
No, we gotta
And now
normalize
I'm
that.
now I'm to the age that I realize that everything that they told me as far as that was wrong. Like, you need that. You need to be able to voice yourself, even if it's something small as discussing your work week and what went wrong in your work week. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have a safe space to where you can go and unload that baggage that you're carrying around, because the longer you carry it around, the longer it's going to weigh on your shoulders, the more your spirit and your energy is going to be affected by it. So it's important for us to get out and seek therapy and figure out a way to open up and deal with all of that stuff that we got going on.
See, and the thing is, like, us as a people, like, we don't view trauma as normal. You know what I mean? Like, we view trauma as normal, like things that would affect you. Just like the little things that we go through, like shootouts in the neighborhood. That's trauma.
Yeah, not to
Having
cut you off,
having
not
a
not
friend
to
get
cut you.
killed.
Yeah, not to cut you off. Me and my friends actually just had this discussion about how you don't have to be in the military to go through PTSD.
Come
PTSD
on,
is
Mhm.
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Preston. Yes.
Anything that has been around that has caused any type of trauma continuously, that
Mhm.
leads to PTSD. There are a lot of my friends that me and myself, I've been surrounded by, like you said, friends getting killed, friends dying, shootouts, all type of stuff that's just in our environment that we don't really understand the amount of damage that it does. It causes so much stress and so much
Mhm.
baggage on our shoulders. And like you said, like it's trauma. At the end of the day, you have to find a way
Mhm.
to deal with that trauma.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
what people don't. Go ahead,
Mhm.
Gene.
No, bad. I'm sorry.
No. That's what people don't understand. That post-traumatic stress and then post-traumatic stress syndrome, post-traumatic stress disorder, you know what I mean? And I'm in education, so we deal with that all the time, right?
Mhm.
Because part of our thing is dealing with not only the students, not only the parents, but the community members. And Ishque is right. It comes from anything. So not only that, just from our history of learning about the history. If you are just born and you've never been done wrong by, another community or hurt or anything, but you're just born and you're just learning about your history. And you are, for instance, an African American, young person. And then you're reading in the history books and you're seeing all those flashes and you're seeing the stories and you're seeing the killing and the murders and you're seeing George Floyd and we see it over and over all throughout the day. That's it right there. So don't ever
Mhm.
think, people think that PTSD, oh, well, something's wrong with you. No, half of us, if not half, and I wish we had the statistics, Gene, maybe we could find that up. We all walking around with something. Let's be honest. So who are
Mhm.
you to tell somebody else about, oh, well, nothing's wrong. You don't need to talk to somebody. You just stressed out or no, or oh, you do have PTSD. Maybe need to go see a, psychiatrist or something. And that
Mhm.
may not even be what you need. You might just need counseling. You might just need a friend. It depends on how it affected you and how you are dealing with it based on your environment, with the information you have at the time, and who you are and your personality and what you're going to be receptive to. It's a lot of factors. And that's the main thing in our Black community is we are nervous about going to seek help, right? Because that trust is gone. We don't trust the government. We don't trust you. We don't trust nothing. And then me and Gene were talking about our show before about that village not being there like it used to be with the family, because the
Yes.
family was the village and that's where you connected and that's where you kind of got your counseling and all of that. And because our families have been broken, and then not only broken, but people have moved off to different places, that's not there. And then people are just lost. And so they don't want to go outside that and they don't want to look like something's wrong with them. But believe me, too, when people are therapists and all of that stuff and that gift, you just don't know. Why would they become a therapist? Some of these therapists will tell you they have told me, the people I work with, I became a therapist because I had the same issue. I'm doing this because it's the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
Your pain, that is your gift. And when you start operating in that, you'll be able to tell your story. You'll be comfortable about telling your story because you've been through it and you came out of it. So we need to help everybody else do the same.
For sure.
So, and getting back to the music.
Yeah, we on some power
That's why
stuff.
I'm here. Exactly. Let's get back to it. So, what is the title? Do you have a title already for the upcoming project you're working on?
Yeah, this is actually, I guess this is you guys are getting an exclusive because I haven't told too many people this, but
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, we got the exclusive.
it's it's about my experience through life. And as I said, I'm from Charleston, West Virginia, but to be more specific, I'm from Dunbar, West Virginia.
Okay.
Dunbar. Shout out to Dunbar.
My
Me too.
my life has been, I've been all over the place really. Just to break it down, I lived in Dunbar, West Virginia from when I was born to the age of 8. When I turned 8 on my 8th birthday, I actually moved to Durham, North Carolina. I stayed in Durham, North Carolina, so I consider Durham home as well. But I lived in Durham, North Carolina from the age of 8 to 14. Once I turned 14, I moved back to West Virginia and I finished high school and college in
Mhm.
Charleston. So there are a lot of places that I can call home, but my roots and my foundations and most of the stuff that I learned about who I was as a person came from Dunbar. And Dunbar, it's a little pit in Dunbar. It's called the Bottom.
Mhm.
That's what
Mhm.
everyone who's from there, they refer to it as the Bottom.
Mhm.
The
We
bottom.
Yeah, the bottom, it sounded so derogatory in a way that we tried to flip it and try to make it sound more appealing. We started
Yeah.
calling it the Motab, which is the bottom spelled backwards. So we call the
Mhm.
bottom, we call it the
Top.
Motab. That's
Wow.
where I'm from. So my album will
Mhm.
be called From the Motab to the Top. And it's
Nice.
Wow.
basically stemming from all of the stuff that I learned throughout my life and
Mhm.
just walking people through my journey in life and helping them to see why I'm the man that I am today. Because that's what I'm all about in my music. Like a lot of rappers, you'll hear them talk about the flashy cars and the jewels and millions of women that they want to sleep with and all of that stuff. I'm the complete opposite. As you can see, I have a wedding ring on my hand. I'm a married man, and I want
Come on.
everybody who listens to my music, I want
Come
them
on,
to
black
know
men
that.
don't cheat.
I
Come on,
want
black men
black men
don't cheat.
black
Let's
men don't
go.
cheat. I want
I
everybody
knew he
to
was gonna say
know
that.
I want everybody to know that I am a married man. I'm married to a strong black queen. And I want
Yes.
to make sure that I say that as much as I can in my music because there are a lot of people out here who believe that rapping is all about getting women and getting all of this stuff. And that's not what it is. Like, we're not
That's
all
a
like that.
distraction.
We
Mhm.
are, there are a lot of us who are monogamous. There are a lot of us that have
Yep.
one woman that we want to spend the rest of our life with. I have a
Mhm.
son. I want to
That's
lead
right.
by example. My wife and I, we just had our first son a year ago, and I
Come
want to
on,
lead. I want
legacy.
him to see what it's like to be
Uh-huh.
a successful black man while also lifting up your family on your shoulders and being a respectable black man. There's a difference
Mhm.
between just being a successful rapper or $1 million rapper and this stuff and that. There's a complete
Mhm.
difference from being that as opposed to being who I am. And I feel like I'm an anomaly almost. You don't see a lot of rappers rap about how much they love their queen or how much they love their family, how much their queen means to them. And I'm the first to say the greatest creation that God ever made was a black woman. If
Come
Come
on
you
on.
now.
have a
Come
black
on. Come
woman,
on.
if you have a black woman on your team, on your side, I was lucky enough
Mhm.
to marry one. A lot of us aren't that lucky. I was lucky enough to marry one. So I want everybody to know it's like a lot of people use the term trophy wife. That's can be used derogatory, but my wife is honestly my trophy. I want to show her off as often as possible, not in a way of being, oh, she's so beautiful, she's this, look how good her body looks. My wife is mentally stronger than a lot of people I know. I love my wife for her
Mhm.
mind,
Right.
her heart, and for how she makes me better as a person. And that's what I want my music to embody. So a lot of the stuff that you'll hear on this album will
Mhm.
be stem to that. You'll hear me talk about how much I love her. You'll hear me talk about how much she's meant to me. And even in my past music, you'll hear prior to us being married, the struggles that we went through life together. And I never want that to be overlooked. A lot of people
Yeah.
they when they rap, they'll rap about all of the issues, all of the troubles, and all of the stuff they've been through in life. I had to do this, I had to do that, but they never discuss what it what it was like actually being in that moment. And I was
Mhm.
in that moment with my wife, so there were a lot of traumatic things that happened to her that affected me. So in my music, I discuss that. Like I talk about it. It's that's what I do
Yeah.
in my music. I discuss the real
Mhm.
life stuff. So like I said, my upcoming album will a lot of the songs will be stem to that, but you'll get some fun tracks on there too, like Somebody's Husband. You'll get some stuff that you can nod to, but I got
Mhm.
some grown folks music on there, man. It's not
Yeah.
Come
always
on
just
now.
about having fun. Like you can
Mhm.
have fun and still be grown. One of my favorite songs on there, and I guess this will be another exclusive because I haven't leaked the track listing at all. But one of the songs
Come on,
that I have
Bob.
on
You
there
gotta drop the
is
bomb on this.
called it's called Date Night. and it's about the
I love it.
real life experiences that we go through as human beings. Like there are a lot of stuff like people want to talk about being in a club and going out and doing this, but for me, I get excitement out of date nights with my woman. So that's what I want
Yeah.
to talk about in the song. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's more of an expression to show how much he means to me. Like I won't give you too much, but a little bit of the hook is you've been working hard all day, right? Let me shower you with love on this date night. You told me step up to the plate, right? Let me show you something on this date night. You ain't gotta take your clothes off just to go off. Type of woman that'll make me want to turn my phone off. Every time we step out, I love the way you show off. When I'm gone, we stay on the phone till we doze off. There's a lot of grown folk stuff going on in that song, so I wanted to
Yeah.
put that on display because that's a part of what we go through. I want people to I want people to be able to relate to me because that's at the end of the day, that's really what just about everybody wants is love. And I was able to find
Mm-hmm.
that. And that song Date Night is just showing off the excitement of being married, like having a spouse,
Mm-hmm.
having a companion. You don't even gotta be married to relate to the song, but just having somebody that you feel important enough to get dressed up for. I want to get dressed up tonight. Let me take you out. Let me do this. Let me do that. Just making somebody else feel special. Like that means the world to me. So, yeah, I know that was a long answer, but I wanted to make sure
No,
that I touched on a little bit of everything.
Nah,
that was
it's cool. Listen, they queuing up a beat for you right now. I don't know what's happening in the background, but
they love. I'm gonna tell you, they loving you out here right now.
yeah, they queuing up a beat for you right now. They want you to drop something else, man. Let's go.
The woman that dropped something else.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we don't even know what the beat is. So they telling us right now. So they loving you, they loving the vibe, all of that. So they saying that they got a beat. It's an instrumental, so we don't know what it is, and they ready to do it over a beat.
All right, I think I can do that. I think I can do that.
So let's do this. What can we do? So Gene, can we start for the producer? Can we start the instrumental? Let him hear a little bit so he can get the flow of the instrumental, and then he'll go ahead and do a freestyle over it. How's that sound? Do we need it up a little bit,
It's
Gene, or is that
cutting in
good?
and out on me, but I can hear it a little bit.
Hold on. I want to make sure you hear it, Ish Clay. Okay, yeah, that's nice. Ish, can you hear it?
I can.
Okay.
Okay. I want to give him some consciousness. Okay, here we go. Okay, Trump lost and then they turned into an angry mob. Imagine how they feel seeing blacks get the odds. And the way they walked in, it was like they had to keep white privilege don't exist. You gotta be me. How would it bring us to a land that we built up from the floor and do everything to make sure that we don't get to enjoy? They can kill a black leader, not what they taught me. Blacks come from royalty. Of course, I'm gonna be cocky. Look, they went to Egypt just to study the pharaoh. Then they shot the nose off just as it wasn't narrow. And now they get the features that help them look black. Then they hate on the culture because they can't duplicate that. Do something simple like that. I'll
Love
leave
it.
them off on something.
Love it. Love it.
Keep going. No. Let's go. Drop some more fire on that. Let's go.
But I
I
want and
appreciate it.
Ish Clay, because his I'm looking at it, and Gene, tell me if you're looking at it because I want to make sure it's not my computer. So I just want to make sure the internet connection is straight.
No, it's a little
It's a lag?
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
little lag.
But
It's a little lag.
it comes back, so it might just be the location. It's all right.
Nah, but Ish, that was dope, son. You gotta
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I'm really,
I like
I'm
that
really
instrumental,
looking
too. He
forward
went
to
good
listening to your projects. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking forward to the album, man. Like, you know, and hopefully, you know, I wish you a million times success, man. Like, I love your story, and you know, like I really appreciate the way you love on your woman, man. Like that is the right way to do it as a black man. You know, like
Yeah,
you make
man.
us proud, bro. I just want to tell you that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's my queen, man.
Yeah, and that's you gotta go out there. I mean, I love that you like that because so many people need to hear that story. And maybe if they listen to you, maybe the black men who need to step up, not the ones who already stepped up, but the ones who need to step up. Things like this need to be out in our community. Music like this needs to be out in our community for so many reasons. I do want to say we're getting ready to close soon. We went over, but it's been a pleasure. But I want to ask you, because we have, the chat has been blowing up. Teray asked a question. We did talk. He said, what's your favorite track? I think you said you like Deja Vu, but this is something we all want to know too. So your favorite track, but he said, what does your EP Real stand for? REAL. And if everybody doesn't know, that's what you can see on the Everything Podcast, on Ish's Instagram, all that information that we're going to give you before we leave. But it is REAL. What does that stand for?
Okay, so Real was that was my first EP that I put out on all platforms. So that was a big deal for me, that project was. Real stands for it's funny he asked this because on the album cover you can actually see the words. I actually designed my own album covers. So what I did was in the letter R, the letter E, the letter A, and the letter L, you can actually see the words in there, what it stands for. So, excuse me, let me get some water. Sorry about my throat is going through it right now.
Take your time. Take your time.
Woo. Okay. So, Real. Oh my goodness, I just had a brain lapse. Relentlessly. No, that's not. It's not relentlessly. My goodness, he asked me too fast. It's actually on my album cover. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while because I've dropped multiple projects since then.
That's okay.
I'm trying to think. I really can't remember. But to answer his other question, as far as my favorite track, that's really what my mind was on because I did say Deja Vu was one of my favorite tracks, but I have another song that's really dear to my heart, and it's called Studio Confessions. It was actually one of my first singles that I put out, and it's really me outlining a lot of traumatic events that I went through as far as friends of my life passing away and me actually working on Real. I dropped this before I dropped Real because there was a spirit around me, and I had a friend that I went to high school with who graduated with us. She was really close with me all 4 years, and she went off to college and was actually coming home to visit college. She didn't even spend her first week in college. She went to college for her first weekend and moved in and was coming back home to visit and passed away in a car accident. So she didn't even get to finish her college career. And like I said, she was really close to me. Like, she was really dear to my heart. And I felt her spirit around me. Like, I would go to sleep and she would like come to me in my dreams. And I remember specifically going to the studio and having this beat and playing the beat, and I felt her spirit in the studio with me. So that song is very near and dear to me. I speak on that a lot. As I said, it's called Studio Confessions, but it talks about a lot of the things that I went through in life. As far as that, my wife and I actually went through a miscarriage at the time, right before we got married. Just a lot of the different struggles that we were going through.
So is that resilient even after loss?
No, that's even after losses.
That's what we got in the chat. Somebody who listened to it said resilient even
after losses. That's exactly what it stands
resilient
for.
even after losses.
I love my fans. My fans pick me up when I stumble a little bit.
That's right. They got you. They got you.
That's exactly what it stood for. But yeah, it was and that, once again, like I said, the Studio Confessions led into that. Like, I was definitely coming off of a lot of losses, so it was important for me to put that out there in the manner that I did. But yeah,
love it. So we're getting ready, but like I said, even though we 15 minutes over, so this had to be a good show, because this us staying on and the fans and the love that you give. Not only do we wish you much success, Godspeed in everything you want to do, I want you to take this time, just a little bit of time before we go, even though we over time, give the fans and whoever, whatever you need, your contact information. How can they get in touch with you? How can they follow you? Is there anything else you want them to know? Your next project, what they need to be on the lookout for, anything. Just give us the whole itinerary. Just give it all.
All right, so you can follow me on all social platforms on Twitter and Instagram at Ishque14. That's ISHQUE14. Now, my Instagram is sort of my sweet spot. Like I said, I don't freestyle often, but there are videos on my Instagram from when I do freestyle. A lot of the times I'll just be in a mood where I'll just be playing the Xbox or watching a movie or something. I'll just be like, I feel like freestyling, and I'll post it on my Instagram. So you can find me there. As far as my music is on all streaming platforms. You can find it on Apple Music. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Tidal. All you have to do is search Ishque, ISHQUE. And if you guys enjoyed this interview and you haven't heard my music yet, you're going to love everything you hear just off the strength of, like I said, my music is transparent. So everything that y'all heard today, you're going to hear in my music. You'll get a deeper version of who Ishque is if you really take a deep dive into my music.
Okay, cool. Is there anything, are you going to be doing, are there any performances later on or anything that you're working on that you want the community to know?
Not at the moment. Like I said, I'm working on the album, so that's getting my full focus right now. I'm channeling all of my energy toward that album. So what I will say is, if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me now, because a lot of announcements about my album will start to come out brick by brick. I've already, like I said, gave you guys the exclusive of the name of my album. Here soon, maybe I'll release a single, maybe I'll release an album cover. You never know, but you'll have to follow me on Instagram to get a little more information about that.
Love it. We want to thank you so much for being here, so much for blessing us, so much for blessing the community. We pray that everything for you works out exactly the way God intended, because we know if it works out the way God intended, it's going to automatically work out the way you intended. So we pray for that, and we bless you. We bless your family and all of Gene. If you want to say anything, by the way, Gene is a pastor. You didn't know Gene's a pastor. So if you want to, you can't even tell, right? So if you want to say just a few things, just a blessing, and then the producer is going to play us out. And then we're gonna be back next time. But let's go, Gene. And it doesn't have to be a prayer, but I just feel the.
I was about to pray, but go ahead.
No. Me as the guest,
pray.
I want you to pray over this episode, just because I feel like there's so much spirit in this episode. So whatever's on your heart right now, share it with us, please, because that might be something that I need to hear.
Father God, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for your goodness and your mercy. We thank you for your grace and your love. Lord God, we ask that you would bless the work of this young man's hands, Lord God. We ask that you would continue to help him lift up others as you lift him up, Lord God. Cover him, Lord God, and keep him, protect his family. Lord God, we ask that you would bless everybody involved with this show. We ask that you would help us to all become more prosperous, Lord God. Lead us in the direction that we should go, Lord God, that we would never go astray from the work that you have given us to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And no weapons formed against you shall prosper.
Thank you for that.
Let's play us out.
Just ain't one. There's no weapon. None.
And thank you, God, for not even allowing the weapons to form. Amen.
That's
right. Thank y'all. I want to thank y'all for opening up the platform to me, man. This means a lot to me.
Listen,
thank you,
we look forward to having you back here.
For sure. I'm excited to come back.
Drop that album. We gonna come on. We gonna do the playlist, and we're gonna go over it. You're gonna break it down for us, and we're gonna talk about where it's going, and I look forward to seeing you on top of the charts, my brother.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, everything. I said, all right, everything, because that's your thing.
Everything.
That's on everything. Thank you, Gene.
Yeah, killing after killing. This is overdone, and they smiling while they do it. They doing it for fun, but I'm God's son, so I won't never run. Cause a crooked cop ain't nothing but a coward with no gun. But look, I had a convo with my brothers today about the way I should react if they should come my way. I'm thinking MLK, just so I can make it home. But the other side of me is screaming that it's all wrong. When I think about my son, they gotta be the outcome. When I'm thinking about my people, I'm thinking like Malcolm. I'm in for meals, cause baby, I got the formula. Classic after classic, man, I belong in the orchestra. All these other rappers is only concerned with pouring up. So finding better is about as likely as locking Jordan up. I keep getting hotter while my trail's still blazing. James want $1, but for me, they getting Nathan. Ain't a nigga living that can cause me a problem. Word to CJ, they don't belong in my column. I'm so super rare, but they can't find another. All these others, man, they come a dime a dozen. I can pull the baddest and act like it's nothing. Boy, I swear I'm looking like somebody's husband. Like somebody's husband. Like somebody's